Good day, everyone, and welcome. My name is Stephanie. I am the VP of Marketing for Prospanica, New Jersey, and we're delighted to have you join us for today's webinar, Polishing Your Resume to Show Off Your Professional Brand. In this session, we'll be focusing on how to elevate your professional image through an outstanding resume. We are fortunate to have distinguished presenters, Randy Gomez and Rovena Pacero, who will guide us through an insightful discussion on how to effectively showcase your skills, experience, and unique professional brand. Throughout the session, we will cover the essential elements of a strong resume, the best practices for highlighting your strengths, and actionable tips you can implement immediately to make your resume stand out to potential employers. We're excited for the opportunity to learn, grow, and engage with all of you today. We hope you leave with new insights and practical strategies to polish your resume and take your career to the next level. Without further ado, I present to you Randy Gomez, New Jersey Chapter President, and Rovena Pacero, Career Counselor at Berkeley College.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Stephanie. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are in the United States. Excited to be here this evening. I want to kick off by introducing myself. I am the director of Berkeley College Corporate Learning Partnerships. I am also the president of the Prospanica New Jersey chapter. And recently, I've completed a few AI courses, and I'm excited about sharing some tools with you guys today to support you with your career journey, your job search, and your resume writing. What I would love to do is give the mic over to my counterpart, Rovina, to introduce herself, since she's going to kick us off with the resume aspect of this webinar.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, and welcome to the webinar for getting your career started and pushing you ahead. I've been with Berkeley for 25 years as a career counselor. I was a former recruiter, so I've been doing this a very long time. And as you can see where my degrees are from, Berkeley, Kane, and Georgian Court. Next. Next, Randy. You can make the next, thank you. Okay, so today we're going to talk about when and why to use a resume. And I'll start first by saying that it's actually the door that opens the path to you getting the interview. All right, so your resume says everything about you before you can even get in the door. Resume basics, things that you might think are common sense, but sometimes you forget to use them. Types of resumes, writing your resume do's and don'ts, and then Randy will take it from there with leveraging AI. Next. Okay, so resumes are about showing what you've done and what you are doing currently. Let me start by saying one thing. If you are currently working, stay at your current position while looking for another position. It's always easier to get a job while you're working rather than leaving and then having that large gap in between. Jobs don't come as easy as people think. So always definitely stay in the position while you're looking, and you'll be seen a lot easier. Networking. This is between the resume and LinkedIn. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. Excuse me. Everyone should get a profile on LinkedIn, and you will upload your resume so that future employers would be able to see what you have to offer. And then they can also find you through LinkedIn, and you'll be able to get job opportunities for interviewing that way. Volunteer opportunities. It shows how you are as far as being someone that helps out in the community. And scholarships, board services, awards and recognitions. We'll get into all of that when we actually show you the resumes. Next. Okay. What is the resume selling? What's the resume for, which I told you is the opening into getting an interview with the most relevant experience, and how do I tell my career story? The one thing I want to tell you is don't go back more than basically 10 years on your resume. They want to see the most up to date as far as when they're reading it. And they also, when potential employers are reading your resume, they do not want a very long resume. So we like to keep it to one. If you are experienced, we could go to 2 pages, but other than that, keep it at 1 page. Because anything more than that, they're going to discard. They don't have the time for this. Excuse me. Next. Okay, the key components, the contact information, and I'm going to show you on an actual resume. With the contact information, you don't want to put your actual address anymore. We leave it to just the city and state. The summary or the professional statement, that will also be at the top of your resume. That's what's going to be able to tell them in a nutshell what the individual, what you have going for you as far as your background in the professional arena, your work experience. Now, the one that we're going to work on, well, I'll tell you that in a minute when we get to the types of resumes. Your skills, your education, your honors, certificates, and awards. Next. Okay, so here it is. This is just a sample resume to help you see what it should look like. It's a basic resume, but it gets to the point of what they need to know when they're looking for a specific individual. So this is a chronological, which is work history and education. In a reverse chronological order. So what you will do is you're going to start out with your most current job, and then you're going to work your way backward. Your most current job will be in present tense, with all the other jobs that you are no longer at being in past tense. So the verbs that you use for current will only be present tense, and the ones that you use for the jobs you're no longer at, you will use past tense verbs. And then we have the functional, which focuses on skills and abilities instead of chronological work history. Hybrid combines functional and hybrid formats. And federal and CV. Federal, they basically have their own type of resumes, so we would have to delve into that more. But it's detailed information to meet the government requirements, and CV academic research. Next. Okay, start with the easy stuff. As I said, if we could just go back to the resume a minute, Randy. Okay, you see at the very top, it's saying Barry Berkeley, Woodbridge, the state, the zip, the phone number, and the email address. Now, you can also, when you have your LinkedIn profile, you can put your LinkedIn URL up there also so that they can click on it and they can go right into your profile and see it. Then we go below that and we have your summary. So if you, now to get to the summary, there's a couple of things that you could do. There is a little format that you can follow to do it, but we can also, and Randy will get into this later, you would be able to get your summary by going into AI. And now, don't think that you just take it and go from there and put it on your resume, because you're going to doctor it up. But Randy, I'm going to let her take that from there and talk more about that. And then as far as the professional experience, if you can see here, it's starts out with May 2016 to present, and everything there is in present tense, okay? And then we go to the next position that the person held. They were at that for 2 years, and that is in past tense. Then you go to your education. You never put your high school on it because you cannot get into college without high school. So you don't need to have your high school on it. If you know your GPA, anything less than a 3.0, we suggest not putting onto your resume. And any honors that you may have, excuse me, you can put on right there. And then your skills and languages, as you can see, by saying proficient in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Photoshop, when they interview you, they want to know that you actually are proficient in these things. So, people have had a pass by, they embellish their resume, but then when they get hired and you have to put this into play, it could be a problem. So if you're not proficient, don't put proficient. You could say knowledge of. So you have to go according to what your skill set is. As far as being bilingual, always a big plus. So make sure that you put down if you're bilingual, trilingual, whether you're fluent in it, your current language goes first, the language you grew up with. So if it's English and then you also speak Spanish, or if it's Spanish and you speak English later, you can do that. Conversant in French. Okay, so this person's saying, I don't know how to write French, but I can speak to someone and hold a conversation. Strong organizational and project management skills, effective communication and problem-solving abilities. It's giving a little bit more about you. Volunteer experience, if you have it, put it down. It lets them see if you do anything as a part of the community. If you don't worry about it too much, okay? Next. Next. Okay, so as I said, here you see that it says high school, but that would be for someone who's just starting out and did not get into college yet. However, I'm taking it as the individuals on here tonight are already seasoned and out of high school. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. However, if you are a high school student and listening to this, you can put down your high school as you see here and the relevant coursework that possibly can help you as far as getting into the career that you want. Next. Okay, work experience. I just explained that to you. So it's the company name, the city, and the state. You do not have to put street addresses, things of that nature. Put your title that you worked as. This person was a cashier, and you see the difference. Carter's is in bold, cashier is in italics. All right, so that's just giving so that they can pick things out easier. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And you'll do that on every one of your jobs. Okay, next. Okay, job descriptions. This is important. Sometimes you can get pretty wordy with a job description. If you are having difficulties in trying to describe what you did at your job or what you are doing at your job, you can do a couple of things. You can look up the title of your job and put into Google job description for whatever the case may be, admin assistant, executive assistant, project manager, and see the descriptions that they come up with. And then you can work it and reword the descriptions according to what you do at your job, okay? The resume and bullets, you shouldn't have more than basically 3 to 5 bullets on your resume. Bullets are these little squares that are next to you. And you're going to put down the most important things first. You also want to, if you've done things where you can actually assess, say, by percentages, you can put, if you put that into the detailed job description, they're going to be very impressed. Just example, you were working and you increased production by 100% by implementing a new form of quality and control. Okay, so these are the things that you want to think about, because when they see that, that stands out to them. Next. Okay, bullet points. As I said, 3 to 5 per position. You'll start with an action verb, which there's a list of action verbs here, but you can look those up. You can find action verbs on Google. Specific and relevant job duty or accomplishments, and quantifiable point and or result. So that was, as I was saying, if you increased production, how much did you increase it by? How much did you increase profits by? Things of that nature. Job duty, process customer transactions, including handling cash, credit card, and check payments. Accomplishment, and this is what I just spoke to you about. Processed over 200 customer transactions daily, ensuring a 98% accuracy rate in cash handling and payment processing. Okay, next. I believe this is you. But I would like to say, the other thing that's very important when you are doing a resume, number one, make sure that all of your fonts are the same. Don't be putting a lot of cutesy things. Less is more. So I like using Times New Roman. I would go with that, easiest to read. Also with the size, I see a lot of people putting their name in like a 30-point font. You don't need that, okay? You can put like a 16 font, maybe 18, that's enough. The rest should be in 12-point font, unless you have an extremely long resume. And then I could say you could go to an 11-point font. And also to make sure that you can get more onto a page, you can go in between on the spaces. This is what I do to get resumes to fit better. I make the spaces in between 8-point so that you can get more onto a page. And if I really need room, I can go from a 1-inch margin to a 1/2-inch margin. And I would do that more so if you are in the experienced realm and you have a very lengthy resume. Other than that, I would say that you're good with 1-inch margins. And like I said, make sure the fonts are all the same. If you're going to put something in bold like the company, you put bold for the company for everything. If you're going to do italics for what your title was, your job title, you do italics for all of them. So everything is going to be uniform. Make sure that you check everything for spell check, for grammar, for punctuation, because the one thing that will throw your resume right out the door is if you say attention to detail, and then all of a sudden here you have the wrong spacing, you have, I'm so sorry, the wrong spacing, you don't have, things that you're following up with as far as the font sizes, things are not in order or aligned properly. And there's a lot that goes into it. So I think that's about it for now. I hope I didn't speak too fast. So Randy, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, no, you were perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that information. And I have to agree with you. You know, my biggest pet peeve is saying that you have attention to detail in your description, and then there's typos everywhere. There's, errors with your spelling. And I speak Spanglish, so I double, triple, quadruple check my spelling, especially when you have the double keyboard. You know, sometimes the error is not detected because your keyboard is in English and Spanish. So you have to be extra careful when you're bilingual and utilizing, you know, different languages on your keyboard. So thank you for that information. I know folks are plugging in questions in the chat on LinkedIn. And so I want to encourage everyone to do so. Please plug in your questions. We're going to have a Q&A at the end of the webinar. But I also want to know, where are people joining us from? Usually we have folks from all over the US. So if you're with us on LinkedIn Live, please plug in where you're joining us from. I am right now in New York City, in the heart of Manhattan. Ravina, you're in Jersey, right? You
Yes,
are
I
in New
am. I'm in
Jersey.
Central Jersey.
Amazing, right over the bridge. I always tell
Yep.
people, out of state, New Jersey. Stephanie, where are you joining us from?
From the warmth of Southwest Florida, Southeast Florida, actually.
Oh
Lucky
my
you.
goodness. Lucky you. Yes, I can see your tan too. So I'm sure you're loving it out there. Amazing. So yeah, I see we have some folks from Texas. Amazing. Oh, Boston is in the house. I don't know, Boston. It's New York, Boston thing. I don't know. But yeah, let us know where you're joining us from. We always love to see where you're at and what's happening in your circles. But let's get right into it. So I'm super excited to be sharing some of my newly learned items with the AI courses that I've been taking. I am so eager to share with the world, and also just support job seekers and those who are looking for career change or to freshen up their resume for a promotion, right? Not everyone that is looking to freshen up their resume is looking for another job. As Ravina shared, you could be looking to apply for a scholarship, volunteer opportunity, your first board role. There's so many reasons why you should keep a fresh resume in your inbox and on your computer so it's ready to plug and play when anyone is asking for it or when you see an opportunity that arises. So I want to start off with some data because I feel like the numbers don't lie. So let's share with you why you should pay attention to, you know, utilizing AI to optimize your resume and your career search. 75%, you know, the recruiters are utilizing AI. Why shouldn't you? They're already utilizing it. I don't know if you guys know, but 75% of resumes are rejected right off the back by application tracking systems, ATS. Remember this word, ATS, before a human even takes a look at them. So utilizing AI and these databases allows you to optimize your resume, optimize the keywords that should be on your resume so you can bypass that first filter of, you know, rejection. Ravina, you're shaking your head. You want to pop in here and share anything?
No, that's so true. Because the majority of resumes are looked at by a job scanner prior rather than an individual. So those keywords, like Randy said, those are gold. When you are putting your resume together, you're going to read over that job description so carefully because you want to pick out those keywords and make sure you have those keywords in your resume.
100%. And this is where, you know, AI comes in, because by utilizing these tools that have these large language models, a ton of content already in it, because of the millions of people that are using it and how it's been trained, folks that utilize AI are 40% more likely to receive a response rate. That's almost half. Okay, you increase your opportunity by half just by utilizing AI and optimizing your resume with that information. And I always say it, like, looking for another job is another job, okay? And so job search fatigue is very real. You know, AI has the opportunity to reduce the time that you're spending with applications and resume and cover letters. The fact that companies require a customized cover letter every application, 75% of your time goes to all of that administration, things that you can save by utilizing the tools that we're going to share today. And I made it my business to make sure that these tools are free, so you can jump onto the internet and, you know, create your login and start utilizing them ASAP. But let's dive right into it. Let's dive into tool number 1, if Prospanica can support me with moving on to the next slide. So ChatGPT, please plug in the chat if you know what ChatGPT is. Say yes, raise your hand, or question a little check mark. I hope that by now everyone knows what ChatGPT is. But if you do not know, no worries, you're going to learn today. This is a great tool to utilize, of course, for writing your resume and bullet points. Rovina was kind enough to even provide us with a few prompts that she shares with her students that we can navigate to ensure that you are able to plug in and freshen up your resume as soon as possible. So with ChatGPT, a few things that it's great for. It's not great for everything. And like Ravina said, you do have to double check all of your information. Number 1, the most important thing is try to not put in any personal information like your name, your phone number, your address or email address. It doesn't need that information, especially if you're utilizing the free version. It's safer for you to not input that information when you're utilizing or uploading your resume. So it's great for resume writing. You can paste your current resume and ask it a few prompts to improve with keyword optimization, like we mentioned earlier, and you can tailor it specific to the job that you're applying for. So no more the days where you're manually going in there and, applying for one job, and now you got to change your resume for that job, and applying for another job and changing the keywords. Chat will do that for you. You plug in the job description, your resume, and it will revamp it based on what that role is looking for to ensure that you have the right vocabulary to get picked up. Cover letter drafting. Cover letters are the death of me. It is so time consuming to personalize cover letters. So I am so grateful that we no longer have to do that manually. Now you can just plug in that job description and chat will give you a nice cover letter customized to your experience based on what you plugged in with the resume and what the role is specifically looking for. So you're saving a ton of time with customizing these cover letters. Mock interviews. Some folks don't realize that, ChatGPT, and I hope you name your chat. Her name is Sophia. So Sophia, she does role playing with me, right? If we're looking to freshen up our interviewing skills or just get an idea of what type of questions are asked for the specific industry, you are able to do a whole mock interview with it, and it'll continue to learn based on your responses. So I'll give you that feedback of, maybe you want to tailor it and respond this way, or don't forget to add this experience that you had based on your resume. So you really have a coach that you can navigate. And again, you can do the same thing with, a career coach or another individual. What's different with this, with the database is obviously that, it has responses from millions and millions of people that have utilized the tool in the past. And it's also searching the web, right, to see what questions are typically asked. You know how folks go onto these different career portals and they type in, hey, this is what I was asked, this is what they're going to be looking for. So you're able to capture that information in one place and not have to navigate the entire internet for it. So that's just the first tool. And I actually I'm going to go on to LinkedIn as soon as we get to the questions, and I'm going to drop all the links to the tools, but let's move on to the second tool. So we can go a little deeper. But before we do that, I just remembered, why don't we go over a few prompts, Ravina, that you shared with us? That would be definitely very useful for those that are utilizing ChatGPT and maybe are not, comfortable. Like, what do I plug in? Because ChatGPT is not Google, so you have to prompt it with specific ask of what you're looking to get as an output. So Ravina, if you want to do us the honors and read the 2 prompts that you shared with us.
Sure. As you can see here, the bullet point prompts, you're a resume writer, write 3 to 5 resume bullet points for whatever particular job you have. Each bullet point should only be 1 sentence and start with a strong action word. When you put that into ChatGPT, that's exactly what you're going to say to it. You're going to say, create 3 to 5 resume bullet points for this particular position in a current using current verbiage. ATS system prompt, you are an applicant tracking system, analyze the following job description and resume, and list any keywords missing from the resume. Super important. As both Randy and myself were speaking about the keywords, those oh, God, it's so important to have those in the resume. And you're going to tell or ask. You don't want to be rude to little Miss GPT. So you're going to ask GPT to please, put into your resume the main words that you need to have so that you can ace this job and get an interview.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's so true. Be nice, say please and thank you, say good morning. But all jokes aside, one of the reasons you want to do that as well is because you do want them to get a feel of your personality, and your communication skills, to also provide you feedback on that when it's time to do some role playing. So I'm excited about tool number 2. I hope you guys are excited too, because this one is definitely a game changer for our community. So the second one is a resume builder by Onesulting. And this is very unique for 2 reasons. First of all, it was built by recruiters who focus on ding, 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 first gen, and underrepresented job seekers. So this is definitely one that you want to check out and navigate. A few of the things that it's absolutely an expert in is bullet point generating. So we spoke about how important it is to have your bullet points on your resume so you can turn your experience into achievement-driven results. Like Ravina mentioned, it's very important to share any data and factual information, like, you increased sales by 98% within your first 12 months. That type of information is very useful for recruiters and also for the databases that are scanning your resume. The second thing is that it matches role matching. So you input the job title, and then it would get industry aligned descriptions. So this will definitely help you again when you're navigating your cover letter and also navigating through the bullet points that you're looking to put onto your resume. And again, keyword optimization, this tool is also very supportive with that because it ensures that your resume is ATS friendly. Again, that word ATS, with the proper language to bypass any other AI tool that's scanning to eliminate candidates. So again, the key thing is that this was built by a recruiter, and it also has first gen and underrepresented job seekers in mind. So it ensures that it's specifically supporting, those 2 groups, which I know we have a bunch of online right now with us. So definitely check it out. And I want to hear how it goes. So be sure to DM me or reach out to me on LinkedIn and let me know how these tools are working for you. But we are on to tool number 3, so we can have some time for Q&A. Teal Job Tracker. So I don't know about you, but I am type A to the max. So if I am looking for my next role, which I'm not my current job, okay? But when I, decide to do so, or looking for the next opportunity in general, this tool helps me stay organized. As you all know, you're probably applying to anywhere from 20 to 30 jobs a day if you're doing it, full time again. If you're not employed, or even if you are working, you're dedicating an hour, 2 hours a day towards your job hunt. And staying organized is very important because it allows you to not only have a sense of ease that you know where things are, what you've applied to, but also following up. Right? If you haven't heard back from an organization in some time, you want to make sure you have that information handy so you can start customizing your responses and following up with folks based on the time that you submitted the application. So the TO Job Tracker is going to help you stay organized. It's going to have a dashboard that shows your applications, the stages that you are within the application. Did you submit? Did you interview? Did you follow up? And things of that nature. It also scans your resume and gives you a score and suggestions, which is absolutely amazing. Because based on the role that you decide that you're pursuing, it's going to scan your resume and tell you, well, you are, 80%, you would be 80% of the candidates that folks are looking for to fill this position. So you want to get as close as possible to that 100, right? And if you don't have the experience that aligns, then it'll give you suggestions on some things that you should consider, or how to tweak your resume to ensure that you bypass that ATS. And then, of course, the AI-powered cover letter built for customization with job descriptions already available to plug and play. So for me, this tool is very unique because of the organization aspect of it. Of course, you can also do it on Excel, but why do it on Excel when you can have, a little virtual machine that is really keeping things nicely organized, and it's also learning from the data that you're feeding it. So you're making the most of your time. So definitely a great tool for anyone that is like me, looking to stay organized and just focus on the actual, job search and not too much about the mess behind applying to multiple roles in multiple opportunities. All right, that was tool number 3. I definitely want to ensure that we have time for questions, but like I said earlier, the data does not lie. You are saving up to 70% of your time by utilizing these tools. I know some folks are intimidated, like, what is this? Is this thing going to steal my information? It's all about being conscious of what you're feeding it, ensuring that you're staying, keeping your information private. And also navigating, seeing if there are other tools that work better for you and your needs. But this will definitely level up your search and support you in ensuring that next bag as soon as possible. So I want to pass it over to Stephanie. Stephanie, you want to bring us home with some questions, and I'll go ahead and drop the tools in the LinkedIn.
Yes, thank you, Randy. Thank you, Rowena. Thank you for this incredible presentation. You dropped so many great gems tonight, and I know that our viewers are going to be benefiting, our members are going to be benefiting from this so much. We've learned so many valuable tips on crafting a polished resume, and now I'd like to shift our focus to the live Q&A session for the remaining time. To the attendees, excuse me, this is your chance to connect directly with Randy and Rowena. We encourage you to post your questions in the live stream comments. So let's dive in. So one of the questions that we have is, what is your advice on tailoring a resume for different industries or job roles?
That's important because the industry, as like we said before, when you're looking at those keywords, okay, the keywords are different according to the industry, according to the job. So you need to pay attention to that. You're going to have, depending on what you're looking for, you're going to have several different resumes that you have prepared for each industry. Okay, because you're not going to use the same one for an engineering industry versus a manufacturing industry. Okay, so yeah, I would tailor it to each individual industry. Keep those resumes on the side. You're going to have at least 2 or 3 different ones.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to add to what Ravina was sharing, remember that these resumes are oftentimes not being looked at by a human being. And so if the keywords don't match the description, or if the role that you're applying for is not reflected in your resume, you're just going to be bypassed. 75% of resumes are bypassed because of the optimization. So I agree with you 100%, Ravina. You definitely have to be mindful to tailor it to the description and the role that you're applying for.
Amazing. The second question that we have here is, would love to get your opinion on placing a list of relevant qualifications versus a summary. I've gotten different feedback as to which is better on a resume.
I would do both. You can put the professional summary at the top, and with your qualifications, just like you have your skills, you're going to put your relevant qualifications. I'd put them in order of what you are the best at, and then work your way down. But yeah, I would say use both. It's not going to hurt.
Another question that we have here is for college students graduating this year, when would you recommend to start applying for a job?
Now, uh, I have, and I'm going to use an example. I have a young lady 2 doors down from where I live, graduated in May, and her parents and I were on her to start looking for a job. Well, lo and behold, it is now a year later, as of next month, from when she graduated, and she's complaining that she can't find a job, her friends can't find a job. And she said she sent out 20 resumes. Let me tell you, 20 resumes is nothing. Okay. Back in the day, and this isn't back in the day, when I was looking for a job, I sent out at least 25 to 30 resumes a day, every day. Okay. And that was before we had all of this big technology. I was at the school and faxing my resume here and there. So, it's so important to make sure that you get out there now. You can do a very nice cover letter. You can start researching your companies. And one thing I do want to say, check out the qualifications of a job before you apply to it, because people seem to look at the job name and if there's a salary, and that's about it. And they don't go to the qualifications. You have to match.
Absolutely. I do want to add that, your resume can be flawless, your cover letter can be incredible, you can have all the optimization, but one of the things that everyone should consider, and we have another webinar coming up to really focus on this, is ensuring that you are networking, that you are going out there and meeting folks and seeing what the company events are happening, and folks that you're connected with that are in the organizations. Because nowadays it's not even who you know, it's who knows you, right? And so things like volunteering at nonprofit organizations, or volunteering in your community, or volunteering in your industry will definitely put you on the top of the potential candidates, because it'll help you stand out, and you'll also network with folks that can support you with, making sure that your resume gets to somebody's inbox and past that ATS. Right? With warm introductions and things of that nature. I know, Ravina, you're shaking your head furiously, and you too, Stephanie. I'm sure you have something to add.
I was
No,
just thinking that, for the individuals that are still in school, if you can be a part of the clubs, that's very important. And also, colleges do have presenters and speakers and special companies that come onto their campuses. I know we do. Introduce yourself. Get yourself to be known. See what there is that maybe you could do at their company. Either it's volunteering or whatever the case may be. All right, get out there and just, give them a nice smile, give them a little, elevator pitch, give them a firm handshake, look them in the eye, and make sure that you get to be a personable person. Forget about these phones, stop doing the texting and start doing speaking.
Absolutely.
great point there. I have another question here. What's your stance on one page versus multi-page resumes? Does it depend on the industry?
For that, I'm going to say there's a couple of things, okay? As I said earlier, one page is the best. How long you have been working is another factor, okay? And the position that you hold. Example, if you're an engineer, that is a very detailed type of position. There are many, many factors that go along with that. That a two-page resume is going to be fine for. But for the individuals who may be starting out, one page is fine. If you have to get a little bit of it onto a second page, okay. But for, less is more.
Yes, absolutely. I do also want to circle back to the qualifications because it's so important to understand what the companies are looking for. I will add that women and minorities or underrepresented communities tend to shy away from applying for roles that, they're not 100% qualified for. And the reality is that there are folks out there in positions that they're like 40% qualified for the positions that they have. So do not shy away from applying anyway, because if it came up in your feed, there's probably something that you're doing that, qualifies you or that you would be considered as a good candidate. You lose absolutely nothing by submitting that application anyway. And if you start the interviewing process, it'll be great interviewing practice if you don't land the role. And I think that's the best way to look at your job search, right? That you are an AI and you are iterating every time you apply, every time you interview. You're just gathering more information to continue to polish yourself in all these different aspects. So when you land that dream job or your next role, you feel that you are ready because of all the experience that you had in the process. So apply anyway.
Very good advice, Randy. I have another question. I think this one is going to be for you. This one says, how can job seekers strategically use keywords without making their resume sound robotic?
That is a great question. And that circles back to what I mentioned earlier, where, you're also training your chat, my Sophia is what I call her, but your chat GPT, as you are navigating and iterating through questions, through resumes, through bullet points, and through all the different aspects that you're looking to complete with the tool. So it's really important to, go through different versions of your resume and give it that feedback. AI is a tool to support you with saving time, but it is definitely not something that you can copy and paste without reviewing and confirming the information. So you can literally prompt it and say, you sound robotic. Please revise this, bullet point or whatever it is to make it sound more like me. And it'll ask you, do you want it to be soft or do you want it to be firm? And it'll continue to iterate until you feel satisfied that the resume represents who you are. I was recently working on a project for one of the AI courses that I'm taking, and it kept giving me outputs that did not match what I was asking it for. And I literally told it like, hey, this is not working. What do you suggest? And it said, thank you for being patient. I suggest you use Canva. So you can have these conversations and let them know, like, listen, you're not doing what I'm asking you to do. What do you suggest we do here? And I'll give you suggestions. So definitely feel, confident about going through these different versions until you get to a comfortable spot. But again, remember that these resumes are going through a computer system. So while sometimes this information might sound robotic to you, it's optimizing with the information that's going to prevent you from being eliminated in that first 75% round.
Very good. Thank you, Randy. There's another question here that I find that is very, very important and very valuable for some of our members. How should career gaps be addressed on a resume to avoid red flags?
Well, it depends on the individual. Now, I mean, sometimes, especially if you're a woman who you stayed home to take care of your family, so on and so forth, that's something that you're going to say during the time of your interview, okay? But one of the things that I've had people do is in parentheses next to the position that they held, whether it's seasonal, whether it was a contract role, whether it was the company is no longer in business. We put it in parentheses so that rather than them saying, oh, look, there's this person skipped from here to here to here. And not understanding why, this way it gives them a little more to go on. So I would just put some very basic, just something in a parenthesis next to your title. That way they know why you're no longer there.
Yeah, I love that. And that's such a great feedback, to include the seasonal aspect of it, because there are so many opportunities that are seasonal, especially in retail, and in that type of space during the holidays. I would say for moms or parents, fathers who take that gap for family. I know personally that that is definitely a 24/7 job.
Yes,
So do not shy away from including that on your resume, because they're extremely valuable skills that are developed through, being a parent. And also, don't be concerned with a company not hiring you because of that. I don't like to call it a gap, because the reality is that it's the hardest job there is, period. But don't shy away from it, because if an organization is not willing to bring you on board because of that, you don't want to work there,
so true.
and just make sure that where you're applying and where you're pursuing to build your career and your experience is someone that aligns with your values as well. If you value, if that's one of your values, the decision that you made, put it on your resume, and ensure that the right company is going to reach out to you and is going to value that experience and bring you on board.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Amazing. And for someone transitioning careers, what are the best ways to highlight transferable skills?
I'm going to say that it depends on what you are looking to do. But I would say that the cover letter is going to be your best bet. To write a cover letter accompanying your resume, and then showing them in the cover letter by looking at what the skills are that and the duties that you would be doing, and what you have done in your current job, that how it transfers. Okay. Just like if you, like Randy was saying, being a mom or a dad and raising children is a 24/7 job, probably the most important job and the most grueling job that you're ever going to have. But in with that comes, the scheduling. Do you have, if you have more than one child, getting that child to school on time, picking them up on time, getting them to, whatever activities that they have to do. Then you have to do your house, you have to do the laundry, you have to do the cooking, you have a multitude of jobs, okay, that you're doing. So, you're showing that you're able to juggle a lot on your plate and get it all done and get it all done well. But you're just going to be able to highlight that and how it would come across in the position that you're looking for.
I agree. We do
Absolutely.
have a comment here from Janet Ortega. She is the VP of Education for New Jersey. And she recommends here to use on your resume, 1-inch margin on your resume for font should be the same. And if you use bold font, for example, the company name, have all the companies in bold. We addressed this at the beginning that consistency is key and everything should be
Yes.
uniform. So thank you, Janet, for commenting. We have one last question and then we'll wrap it up. If a college student had only one job or no job experience, what's your recommendation on how the resume should look like and stand out compared to other college students that had multiple job experiences?
Okay, so basically, you're going to let them know that you were focusing on your academics, which is why you had one job only. And I do have students who have no jobs. They've specifically focused on their academics. So with something like that, um, you know, it's wonderful that you've done that. And then what you're going to do is let them know the volunteer work that you do, what hobbies you do, what clubs you were in school. You're going to focus on all of the things that are highlighted academically for them to be able to look at. And then, you're going to go out there and you're going to just kill them with academics and let them know that you can do the job just as well as somebody who's been working before.
Yeah, I do have to piggyback on that 100%. Ravina, that's great feedback. And we often find it, I'm sure that you'll agree, Ravina, that student that says, oh, I have no work experience, when we start asking them questions, they're like, oh yeah, I do pick up my, little brother, little sister from school. I do help them with homework. Like those are all very relevant, transferable tasks that you accomplished. While you're a full-time student, there's most likely something else that you're doing, helping in the community, at your local church, helping mom and dad with their business or with their work or with your sibling, cousins. Like there's always something as humans that we do outside of that, one area, which in this case would be school. So I would recommend, definitely digging a little deeper, and really taking a look at, okay, what are all the things that I spend my time on and which ones can I translate into experience. Doesn't have to be a job, but it's experience that will reflect your transferable skills for a career.
Absolutely. I agree, Randy. And, if you are in clubs, and if you're holding some type of a position within a club, those things all count. If you are working as a peer tutor in the school, if you're working as a federal work study in a school, these things all count. So, yeah.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I remember when I was straight out of high school, I volunteered at the hospital, and I had to total volunteer hours and put it on my resume to be considered for a job. So volunteer work is extremely helpful to be added on the resume.
Yes, and if you need a volunteer opportunity, reach out to us at Prospanica.
Absolutely.
We have one for you.
Yes. So we have one last question. My apologies. We have one last question here. They're saying here, for someone who graduated from college about 15 years ago, should I include a managerial position of 12 years ago? Should I also remove the graduation year of my postgraduate degree? So it looks like it's a 2-question combo. So break it down. So for someone who graduated from college 15 years ago, should I include a managerial position of 12 years ago on the resume?
I would say yes, because we're talking managerial. That's a whole different ballgame, because you are in charge of a staff. So you would include how many people you managed, what your duties were. That's all important. So yeah, I said earlier that I wouldn't go back more than 10 years, but you need to actually look at what you've done. And if you feel that that is what you've done during the course of that time and it's past 10 years and it's going to benefit you for the position that you're going for, absolutely include it.
Okay, very good. And should I also remove the graduation year of my post-grad degree? I hear a lot about this, removing your graduation year so that it doesn't show your age, because of ageism that happens during application process. What is your opinion on that?
Well, they have 2021 down, so I'm going to say put it down. It's not like you're putting 1999. So as long as you're not, I don't know how old this individual is, but I'm going to use myself as an example. Okay. If I put down that I was getting my associate's degree in 1999, I think they're going to kind of figure out how up in age I am. So I would just then put, graduated, or I hold a bachelor's in this or a master's in that. And the year wouldn't matter. So yeah, use that according to your discretion. But
Mhm.
2021, put it down. That's
I
4 years
know,
ago.
that just happened.
What?
That just happened. That's so close. Mhm.
So true. It's only 4 years ago.
Yes. Well, with that, I want to express my gratitude to Randy and Rowena for such a thoughtful and enlightening session. We've covered various strategies that really underscore the importance of resume building.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I hope it was
Thank you.
beneficial to everyone.
I hope so too. I think it was very valuable. So thank you. Thank you for your time. And
Thank
as
you.
we wrap up today's webinar on polishing your resume to show off your professional brand, we want to extend our sincere thanks to each of you for joining us. We hope the strategies and insights shared today have provided you with the tools to elevate your resume and better showcase your unique professional brand. A special thank you to our presenters, Randy and Rowena, for sharing your expertise and guiding us through the process of crafting impactful resumes. We also want to express our gratitude to Prospanica National for their continued commitment to empowering professionals to achieve their full potential. We encourage you to take what you've learned today and begin applying these tips to stand out in your job search. Remember, your resume is more than just a list of experiences. It's your professional story. Don't forget to register for our virtual career fair. We invite you to join us on April 9th at 12 p.m. EST. This event offers a fantastic opportunity to connect with top employers and explore a variety of career paths. Be sure to scan the QR code on the screen to register quickly and easily. Make sure to mark your calendars and join us for this exciting event. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, April 2nd at 7 p.m. EST for our next webinar, Engaging with Companies Checklist, how to interact with recruiters before and after the virtual career fair. Thank you once again for your time and participation. We can't wait to see you at the career fair.
Thank you. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye. Thank you, Stephanie, Ravina.
Thank you too.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
everyone for joining us.
Thank you.